Okay, cool.
We're recording.
I'm gonna tag a couple people just real quick.
I'm gonna mute people and then as people get on. Okay. So welcome you guys to our first, these are gonna not really be like team calls, like our first mastermind call. Me and Claire were talking and we were really thinking, this is something that actually has been kind of on my heart too lately, is really doing like team calls again, but not in the sense where it's like we just bring you content, because I feel like there's enough content out there for you guys to have. Like literally you can go to, hey Brandy, you can go to YouTube. Misfit has like amazing content coming on. Like there's just I'm gonna mute you guys who came on quick. There's just a ton of content out there. So we were talking and I was like, wouldn't it be cool to do like mastermind Zooms where like we all bring stuff to the table and we literally mastermind, we brainstorm what's been working for you guys, what's been working for us, what's not working, what's stopping you in your business, and really like not just brainstorm and mastermind together, but literally build this like community together, instead of just like me coming to you guys every single week with content that's like already out there. Because I feel like you can get overloaded with content. You really can. Like, I feel like I get overloaded with content. And with this business, I'm Lauren Ricks. I think everybody knows who I am. But I've been doing this business for 7 years, and I was just telling Shakti this yesterday. I don't know if it's the 7th I joined or the 11th. I really should look. But it's been 7 years, you guys. 7. And I feel like this business has changed a lot. Not necessarily the business part of it, but the social media part of it has changed so much over the last 7 years that like what I did when I first started isn't working anymore. And like even stuff that I did 2 years ago isn't working anymore. And it's just, we want to just kind of really help share with you guys how to work this business so it like feels good to you and it's effective and it's something that you like will stick with. You know, because if you're doing things every single day that you don't enjoy doing, it's really hard to stick to it. You don't want to do it, right? So it's like, that's really what we want to help you guys do, along with like figuring out what's stopping you in your business, or even sharing what's working for all of us. And I don't just want it to be like me and Claire talking. Like maybe, you know, like Shakti might have something that she has to say, or some, you know, like if you guys have like an aha, share it. Like this is where we want to share that kind of stuff. So like if you're having aha moments, more than likely that will help somebody else be like, oh my gosh, I never thought of doing it that way. Or that feels really good to me. So I don't know if you want to add anything else to that.
No, that sounded really good. I'm excited to be a part of a mastermind, because I don't really think I've ever like been a part of anything like this that like I really felt strongly about. So I'm just excited to like really link arms and do this thing, you know, and like just be bosses.
Right.
I love it. So yeah. So I guess what first of all, we wanted to talk about the 4 vitals, just for those of you that are new-ish, and how important those are, because even though we are going to be encouraging you guys to follow your own, you know, heart and paths and really follow what feels good, at the same time, there's still the 4 vitals, and those are really, you know, essential to your business. So, do you want to go over that, Lauren?
You want me to go? Okay. So this might sound super redundant to a lot of you guys, but I think the biggest thing is like doing the 4 vitals that feel good. Like don't do the ones that feel good to you, but do them in a way that feels good to you.
Mm-hmm.
I think. So obviously, like I think the biggest one is they're all big, but starting with being proof the product works, like making sure you're working out, doing a workout, showing people you have like are getting results, and like just have proof the product works. So whether it's you're doing a workout program, committing to a workout program, drinking Shakeology, and or the performance line. I know there's some people who are like, I can't do Shakeology. That's fine. Like we have the performance line, we have the bars now, that like there's other options out there for you guys than just like the Shakeology. So like if you have people who are like, I want to do this, but I don't want Shakeology, that's fine. There's other options. So being proof the product works. Personal development is huge, you guys. This one, like, I can't even tell you how much this one has changed my life. And I know there's many girls on here that I can tell you that it's changed their life too. So this is huge. And with this one, you guys, it's personal development for a reason. So making sure it's personal. So if you guys see like people posting like, oh my gosh, this book was so good, I'm reading this book, and then you start reading it and you're like, me, I can't really get into it, or I don't read it, I forget to read it, it's probably not the right book for you at this season in your life. So making sure that like the personal development is personal to you. This can also be trainings. Like if you're listening, like trainings can be business development. So like if you're getting on trainings, that's great too. I also want to say with personal development, making sure you're applying. So like you can be listening to all the PD in the world, listening to all the trainings in the world, but if you're not applying anything you're losing, or anything you're listening to or watching, it's kind of just like, you know, not going to really work. So that, and then do you want to do the other two, or do you want me to?
Oh yeah, and then inviting. This is like so close to my heart. It's not even funny because I have tried. I joined this business, and instead of like starting with a transformation, I started with the business. And so I never really found a passion for the products. I never really found a passion for anything but other than like trying to grow this business, like basically from nothing, because I didn't have a foundation. So inviting to me is really having a transformation, being passionate about, you know, our products and really what Beachbody stands for, and then sharing that in whatever way feels good to you. And we had said that we were, you know, just wanting to brainstorm on ways to do this because there's so many different ways. I mean, you can invite on your, you know, Instagram stories, on your Instagram, on your Facebook. You can invite in a DM, a PM, you know, all these things. And so there isn't one right way, but it has to all come from here. Because if it doesn't come from here, people are going to feel it and they're going to be like, that girl is just trying to make money, or, you know, she's just trying to blah, 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 blah. And I was that girl for a really long time, you guys. I was that girl who was just trying to make money. And as much as that sucks, and as much as I'm like, here, I learned great lessons, and my business has grown tremendously since about January because I started to really come from here. So find that passion for the products, find that passion for your purpose, and really what you feel like you joined for. You know, I really feel like we're all here because we want to make an impact, and we all do it in completely different ways, but just really kind of connect to that. And it's just going to pour from you. And people are going to be like, I cannot wait to join you. Like, they are going to come running, I promise. So anyway, that was like a really long explanation of it. Sorry. And then recognition is just basically shouting people out, you know, being people's like cheerleader, you know, yay. Because everybody likes to know that they are doing a good job. So whether it's a fellow coach or a challenger, or somebody who is, you know, maybe a prospect, or your mom, or it can be anybody really. Shout out yourself, shit, you know? So those are really the four vitals, and they can be done in a ton of different ways. So we just kind of want to talk to you guys and like see what ways feel good to you, and how you guys can really put your own kind of like personal spin on it.
And I can start, because I know for me, the three, like being a proof the product works, that was easy. Personal development was easy. It was inviting. And when I started 7 years ago, you guys, it was like, okay, here's what you do. 5 reach outs every single day, 2 invites every single day, 3 follow-ups every single day. And you had to, like, that was what we were taught how to do. And I did that for so long, every single day, that it got super redundant. And I started to not enjoy my business because it was like, well, I don't feel like Brayson's trying to get into my office. I want to see him. It wasn't joyful anymore. So for me, I have found over the last like even couple months is really I'm still inviting, but I'm doing it in a way that's like, I'm talking about it in my posts more. I'm talking about it in my Instagram stories more. And when I feel called to, are you going that night?
You just want to see everybody.
Oh, you want to see everybody?
Oh.
Hi,
Mr. Hi, Mr. Hanson. Oh my goodness.
When I feel like called to invite somebody to coaching, or I'm talking to somebody about coaching and I'm like, oh my gosh, this opportunity could like change your life, I do it. And I don't guess, and I don't second guess myself. And I'm like, how am I supposed to like talk to them about it? I just literally am like, hey, like, have you ever thought about doing what I do? And it sounds so simple, but I think we overcomplicate it. And then we think, and I thought this too, and I was talking to Claire about this too, like I thought, even like a year ago, if I wasn't sending out like cold invites every single day, I wasn't working my business. And that's so not true. And I was even talking to Joelle about this today too, because she was like, yesterday I got my business done in like an hour, and she said 4 things she did, and she was like, that's what I did, and that's what I felt good doing, and that's what she did, and it was still working her business. So it's like, if you guys do your four vitals every single day, and your inviting looks different every single day, that is okay.
Yep. It is okay.
Are you gonna sit with me? That's my spiel.
So I guess I'll go next. So wait, are we talking about how we invite differently? Okay.
Yeah.
I've been doing it on my stories and in my posts. I've kind of gotten like really ballsy and just about like how I share a lot publicly. I know Bonnie Engel talked about how like she did a sneak peek basically on her page, and like, every single post was about Beachbody, and not in the way of, like just kind of being gross, but just sharing, about your team and about, your program, about your challenge groups, all of that. And so I really invite through my posts. And I didn't feel really good about it, about inviting like through Messenger until lately. I feel like I can do it from a really authentic place. So I had to wait on that one until I felt like I could really get into it, So I'm kind of doing it a few different ways. But really that's kind of the main way that I do it is through my posts, and then now through personal message. But it has to be somebody that I've already formed a relationship with. And I don't mean, that it has to be my best friend, but it needs to be somebody that has been showing interest in my journey, and not like somebody that I, know from some group, and then she sent me a request and then I spammed her with all of this weird stuff. Like, I have to know that she has an interest of some kind, right? So that's me. Shakti, do you want to say what you do? Okay.
So a couple key things about what both Lauren and Claire shared that I think really is important to understand too is that before you really get to the point where you're going to invite someone, and this has been a harder lesson for myself, because a big part of my journey with Beachbody has been figuring out my personal mission in it and why it so deeply resonates with myself as a soul on this planet, being who I am. And I happen to be extremely metaphysical, and spirituality is like a huge theme in everything I do. So how to bridge that gap was really big for me, because how to bring people to understand that doing something physical for themselves really impacted this other part of their being was like a big thing for me. But I didn't really get that for a while. It took a while to understand what really was it I wanted to accomplish with invitations, right? So, because when you're just sending invitations, even if you're sending it, you have all your groups scheduled and you have a team to invite to, there's still a missing component there. And I think the missing component is, why are you inviting this person to join you to do anything at all, especially when it comes to your team. Like, do you actually want this person there, or are you doing it because they're a number? That was a really big question for me for a long time. And when I finally figured out who I was looking for on my team, because now my team is like, they're all me, basically. Like every one of them, and it's amazing. Like it's the best, right? I finally understand this thing I've heard coaches say for a long time. Now that I kind of get that thread, and it's a feeling, you guys, it's not like a tangible thing. It's not a checklist of things that everybody likes. It's an energetic thing. This involves a lot of self-reflection and a lot of getting to know who you are, so that when you're out there and you're talking to people and you're connecting with them, you get that ping, you get that zing, and you're like, yes, this is the kind of person who would do well in our team, because they have that same vibration as these other people who are on the team that I connect with very well. Okay. So it's a very subtle thing when you start connecting with people and you start looking for that invitation. And I invite a lot like Lauren does when I feel that is the correct point to do the invitation. And like what Claire said, when I've built a relationship such that I kind of have a good feeling, a good grasp energetically on what this person is like in general, that's when the invitation comes through. For me, the most valuable component of my work day has been connecting constantly. That's been the most valuable thing I've taken away from doing like a power hour or work. Work for me is really commenting on people's stuff, complimenting a lot, celebrating people for a lot of what they do, holding space for them when they're suffering. That's something that I enjoy doing, because that's just, as a healer, like that's the work that I enjoy doing. So I do it verbally on social media a lot. And sending messages when that feels like the correct bridge to cross. But I spend a lot of time connecting with people, and how I actually find people in my network, this has been really recent and has led to the invite, has been when people comment on my comments, because it happens all the time. I'll comment on a thread, another girl will come in and say what she said, or something along those lines, or she'll just like my comment. And guess what? When I click on her profile, she's almost always just like me, likes the same thing I like because she liked my comment. So I've been meeting a lot of people that way, and the invites are just like so simple now because they're just like me. They like the same stuff I like. They like all my fitness posts. They like my food posts. They like my kid posts because they're a lot like me. So for me, the most valuable thing I can give you guys about inviting is to really spend time connecting. Like, let the invite be kind of like the side effect, a lot like weight loss. When we tell people, like, let the weight loss be the side effect of enjoying the process, let the invitation be the side effect of enjoying the connection. Let that be the organic side effect of you being, you're connecting, that you're like, man, I've got to invite this person because they're just so perfect for this team or for our fitness community or whatever.
What Shakti said. That's it. That's exactly how I feel. Huh?
I think we can now. So
yeah, we'll just be done. But seriously, that is exactly how I feel. It's such a feeling in here. Like it's just a feeling. And I feel like a lot of us in here are very feeling oriented. I think I can pretty confidently say that. We're all very feeling oriented, and it's just a feeling, and if you go like to do something and it doesn't feel right,
Pause.
Don't pause. Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it because you feel like you should.
Yeah, just
Pause.
yourself. What's going on? Like, why does it feel good? Just that simple question. Why doesn't it? Give yourself the opportunity to have an answer to that.
Right. And also, why do you feel like you should do that thing?
Yeah, that's a good question.
So good.
Because I always did so many things that I thought that I should do.
We all did that though, because that's part of learning. I mean, that's part of the curve and having the patience to start this business and like figure it out. And I'm gonna throw a little metaphysical stuff out there for any of you guys who don't really follow this closely. Like, the energy of the way things are working just in general right now is moving much more into the feeling, the heart center, and the yin things. So this concept of hustle and grind is slowly dying a horrible death. because it's not really working. It's not working. And I've been saying this, Lauren can attest to this, since I joined the team. I've been anti-hustle since like day one, because that never felt good in my body. And what I'm seeing now is I'm seeing a massive shift in consciousness where people are finally getting that. Like that feel good, and it's making people sick. Furthermore, it's making you sick and it's making you burn out. So we are on the cusp of this rising energy of receptivity, and that's amazing for us.
Yeah.
That really works in our favor. So the more we can step into that and work this business from that angle and change the face of this business, the more success, because people are responding to that kind of energy. They are not responding to this old way of doing business.
I love that so much. And it feels so much better. It feels as though you are going with the current instead of constantly trying to push against it.
Right.
I think too, and you guys might find, because I know some days I even feel like this, like when I get done working, I'm like, did I even work?
Right.
Like sometimes I'm even like, what did I even do today?
It shouldn't feel like work.
And it doesn't. And it used to, like, in the past, it was like, okay, I didn't do this many invites. I didn't work yet. Now I have to go back and make sure I'm like doing this amount of invites. And that was like, it was icky. And I was doing it because that's what, like, I was in a push group and that was the numbers for everybody to do and blah, 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 blah. And like, at the time it was like, okay, this is what everybody's doing. Nobody knew any different. This is what we were doing. But like, as Shakti said, like, things are changing. And I think as social media is changing and people are getting spammed the crap out of by other people, they can instantly tell, like instantly. Yeah. So it doesn't work anymore. Like if you're not being genuine to yourself, and like, if it doesn't feel good to message them, don't. And if they can tell. It's so weird how people can tell, but they can. And I think that's where, like, it's changing. What used to work is not working, and nor should it.
There's two things I wanted to offer that have helped with my inviting also, that not directly related to inviting, but have impacted the way that I feel comfortable inviting. The first one is I got my nutrition in check. I have been the worst at keeping my nutrition in check. I've done all the fitness programs. I can exercise until my heart explodes. But when it comes to eating the way I'm supposed to be eating, I couldn't. And it wasn't until this year when I got together and I actually followed the meal plan and since the beginning of the program, and I've gotten fucking amazing results. And I'm constantly being blown up for my results, where that never was the case before, because I'm actually doing the thing. So now when I go to invite someone, I'm coming from a place of confidence because I did it and I know what it takes.
Yep.
So someone feels a lot more organic now than before. So that's a place for you to check yourself. Am I actually doing the thing, or am I say that I'm doing the thing? That's going to affect your confidence, even if you think it won't actually. The second thing that really affected was I paying attention to my current clients? Was I still connecting with them? Was I still checking in with them? Was I still sharing love with them, even though they were like successful points from 6 months ago, right? That really affected my personal integrity. When I started to be really consistent with still checking in with the people who had already committed to me, and making sure that part of my work time was making sure that certain amounts of them got spoken to and addressed. And even if they hadn't participated in a challenge group in months or dropped off, that I was still making the effort to make sure that they knew I was there. Something about doing that increased my sense of personal integrity, and it made me feel like a better coach. And because I felt like a better coach, it made me more confident in reaching out to new people and bringing them in, because I felt like I was a very valuable thing in their life. So those two things have really been huge for my confidence when it comes to inviting indirectly.
I think you could do those two things every single day and your business would grow. And even if you're like, I don't have customers right now to show up like that with the people who are already like on your Facebook page. Like she said before, like commenting and liking, or Instagram. Like I feel like Facebook is a dying thing too, but like your Instagram, like show up for people in their feed like that too, if you don't have like the current customer base or whatever, you know, like if you did those two things every single day, your business would grow. And I think that goes back to like committing to yourself and showing that like first you can get results, because nobody's going to want to join what you're doing if you're not actually getting results and sharing what you're doing,
and what it took to get there. Like share what it took to get there.
The struggle.
Don't just show your guns. Talk about the shit that it's hard sometimes, that you struggle. You want to eat all the donuts like I do. I talk about that shit all the time. The emotional eating issues and blah, 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 blah. Share the shit. That's important. Like show your progress, but share the process. That's important.
That's definitely an area that I still struggle in. And I know me and Lauren were also wanting just to kind of share some of the ways that we, struggled too. I still struggle in my nutrition, and I'm in a period that like since about Saturday, it's just been like a freaking downhill spiral and I cannot get back in it. But I don't feel like a good coach when I don't eat right. And I don't know, it sucks, but I'm like, is it a sabotage? Is it hormones? What is it? But I struggle like seriously on the daily. So I can fully attest to that, how when you are all screwed up, and I think that's probably where I went wrong in the first 3 years of my business, is my nutrition sucked for the whole 3 years. I just didn't care. And yeah.
And it's kind of like that thing, like how you do one area of your life is how you do other areas. So like Shakti committed to her health and fitness, and her business is blowing up.
Yeah.
It's not just changed her business, but it's changing her relationships. It's changing her home life. It's everything. And it's like, you guys, if you can look at, and this is kind of like what's been stopping you, maybe, like look at how you're taking care of yourself. Because if you're not taking care of yourself, you can't take care. Most of us are moms, but like so I feel like it's hard for us to really put ourselves first. But how can we be the best mom and the best wife and parent if we can't even like take care of ourselves, right? It's hard. It's so hard.
Be selfish to a degree. There's no such thing as balance, really, when it comes to putting yourself first. And I had a girl tell me that. She's like, oh, your consistency is amazing. She was one of my coaches. She ended up quitting. She's like, I can't be consistent. I'm like, that's a choice. That's a straight up choice. You're going to have to trade some things. That's the way that it is. But when you put yourself as a priority and you say, this is my time, buy your time. When can you find it? Buy it. Keep it. Do the thing, right? Because people are going to come to you who are struggling with that. And if you can't hold your ground for yourself, how are you going to teach them the way? How are you going to show them how to hold the ground for themselves? That's what they need. That's what they're looking for. That's why they hire a coach. That's the whole point, So like we need to do that. We need to do that first and be firm in it. And Claire, like you said, you struggle. I struggle too, man, daily. I want to eat everything I feed my kid that I can eat, especially fruit right now. All I want to eat is fruit. Okay? But I talk about it. And I let the shame fucking hit the floor. I don't get caught up in it because that doesn't help anybody. Because on top of being coaches, we're also like truth tellers, right? So part of being a good coach is telling the truth and just being real, being a person, and that you're finding your way and you're trying to get back on track and whatever. Like when we try to be perfect, that shit backfires hard. Yep. You just got to show up however that looks. Yes. You're not the expert. You're the person on the journey. You're the guide on the side. That's who you are. So be that, fully be that.
Love
so
that.
Important.
So we have like 10 minutes left. So I don't know if we want to do kind of like, I was thinking I probably will upgrade to the no time limit Zoom, but do you guys have any questions? Anybody have any questions they want to talk about? Anything that you feel like you're really like, that's been stopping you, you're really struggling with, or anything like that? We would kind of do that for the last 10.
Don't all speak at once.
Don't run now.
I just want to say that I know that this is exciting for me because this is how I've been running business for myself in general, and I felt very, very lonely doing it this way by myself. So it'll be nice to have other people to work with and do things naturally with.
Good. That's so great to hear.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a new coach. I'm just starting. And so I guess one thing that I would like to ask you ladies is, what is something that has really helped you at the beginning? Like, what helped you really get into it?
Get into what? Like the business part of it, or like?
Yeah, the business part of it, the inviting, like how did you take those first steps after you did the training and all of that?
For me, I just dove in. I just did the things that I was supposed to do every single day, the 4 vitals. And I back then, I remember I wanted to quit my job at Costco. And so it was here all day, every day here. And I was like, and it was seriously like my focus all the time. So I would find a really big why, and I would just, hone in on that.
I did. I listened to the National Wake Up Call on repeat. I got on the podcast and I literally listened to like thousands of episodes every time I was in the car going anywhere to learn about the business, to learn about the company, to learn about the culture, to expose myself to the metrics of the business and to have that buzzing in my head. So I listened to that all the time. That was a really big part of me jumping in. The other thing I did was I really focused on my journey, on my results, because I was using it for postpartum depression and anxiety, and it was like my lifeline. So I literally clung to that for dear life, and I used social media as a journal. I didn't use it as a teaching platform like I kind of use it now / journal. I just used it as a journal. I just shared what I was doing. Like used it like a live journal. Anybody remember like journaling back in the day in those websites in like the early 2000s and 90s? Like how but really like that's what I used it as. I was just telling a story of my day. That's what I did. And between those things, I had great success out of the gate.
That's great.
I agree. I think like showing up for yourself right away and sharing that, what they said, and then that, like doing the 4 vitals, show up for yourself, get results, share that. People will want to see what you're doing.
Yeah.
So it's like exactly what they said. Start with yourself.
Okay.
Jen was going to say something. I unmuted you, Jen, this time. Oh, we have 2 Jens on. Jen Swanson.
Oh, sorry. What?
Weren't you?
Oh, we saw that. Yeah, you were trying to.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to put together how to share your story, share your life. I have such a hard time with that. How do you guys dive into that?
And I think with you, yours is so big. There's so much to share. Did you open the door by yourself? Oh, man. We are going to have this.
So, Jen, I would recommend starting in. So, first of all, what your story is, if it's really big, write down like the major catalyst moments of your story. Like, what are the main things that happen in your story that kind of compose your story, right? Like, how to that, and then when you share, pick one of them to share. Because when your story is really big, it's a lot, too much probably to share at one time. So just pick a fraction of that, like a portion of the journey, and talk about that portion. And what really helps is to use emotive language. So think about who you were in that moment in time, what you were art, what were the circumstances around you. This is some basic like storytelling. I'm a trained writer, so this is like basic storytelling principles. Like imagine it's a character and you're reading the character in the book. And like, how do they describe this character? They describe what they're thinking. They describe what's going on inside of them, what their circumstances look like, and tell a story kind of from that perspective. But start small, and then maybe do a live video one day and share the whole thing all together.
Yeah, because I went live once to share my story, and it turned into a shit show. But I had a ridiculous amount of people watch it.
There you go.
That was great. Thank you.
Those are great questions, you guys.
I can
So I guess I want to ask, what is everybody's takeaway from this call? Like, what can you take and, implement tomorrow? Hannah.
Like the feeling more than making it salesy and like just inviting whoever, like inviting people that you connect with. That's what I took away from it. And I feel like that's huge because that's what I'm always scared of, is feeling salesy and while inviting and not being, passionate about inviting someone. But don't went blank. Don't go for numbers. Don't do what you don't like or what you don't feel. Oh, it's getting jumbled. What Shakti had said earlier really hit the spot. Don't do what makes you uncomfortable.
Pause. If something really feels bad, pause.
Pause.
Okay.
And I do want to clarify though, because there is a difference between being uncomfortable and something not being right. Because I'm uncomfortable on this call because it's really not my strength, but I am trying to, practice, but this call in itself feels good, if that makes sense. Like I'm still highly uncomfortable, but this call feels like awesome sauce to me. So there is, a difference there. So.
And that's what the pause is for. Pause is for you to ask yourself, is this something that doesn't feel right? Or am I just stepping outside of my comfort zone? Like, because there is a difference, as Claire said. But the pause space, figure that out.
Sometimes facing fears is kind of scary.
Oh my God. Heck yeah, it is. This whole 3 years I've just been like one big ball of anxiety.
Anything else? Do you guys want to take a Instagram selfie for your Instagram stories so you can share about this mastermind that we were just on?
Yeah.
Grace ready for a picture, so take it now. Oh, and we have Jax too. Okay. I already took one earlier, so.
I love your face. I totally took a picture of that.
Of Grace and Kitty Jax. Well, thanks you guys so much for getting on. This will be recorded. Hopefully I will get it up on our team YouTube channel tomorrow. So that way, if you guys have coaches that didn't get on, you can share it. I will share it in the team page, so it will be in there too. And then next week, we'll jump on again with the same thing, come with the